Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name's Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 338 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 66 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Tyrion 12.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you. Unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers, well, then if you listen to that spoiler episode, we are going to spoil things for you. But regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry, and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes. They'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I'm doing all right. It was a beautiful day.
It was a nice day,
Took the dog for a walk. The dog's been sick, and we had her at the vet yesterday, and they thought she had diabetes, and they drew blood, and today they called and said she did not have diabetes, and now they're testing for other things. So, but she's spry. She's got her usual energy. The problem is she's been getting up multiple times a night and wanting to go outside and go potty, and that's disruptive. Is really disruptive.
That is disruptive. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope she's
and it's
okay.
out of the blue. Thank you. So do I. We were worried. Yeah, Stacy's
How old
a
is she
diabetes.
now?
She'll be 13 in July.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I mean, old, but she's 10. Well,
she's little. Little dogs
yeah.
can live long. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We're beginning to suffer in our house. I think I've told you that the new dog growls whenever any of the other dogs comes towards the bed.
Oh.
And the new dog lies by the side of the bed and growls at either of the other two as they come and go. Penny doesn't care at all. She jumps over the growling dog to get into the bed. Just does not listen whatsoever. But Twiggy is terrified, and she won't come in, and she walks back. She paces back and forth, triggering the growling and not resting.
Oh goodness! Yeah.
So it's
Well, in other news, I'm a good bit poorer than I was last time we talked.
You and me both, my friend.
We bought a car yesterday.
Oh, exciting!
So, it's good. I mean, it's never fun to need to, but car buying is not the most pleasant of experiences.
It's awful. It's awful. I hate it. If I could never buy another car, that's what I would choose.
Yeah. Well, the plan was Ethan needed the car for his internship. He hasn't had one since last August. So we were going to give Molly's car to him for the summer, and then when Molly was home, we have my car, Stacy's car, and the van, and 3 drivers, 3 cars. We'd make it work. But so Ethan flew into town to buy to pick up the car and drive it back home, and before he took it on a 9-hour drive, I took it over to the shop to get it looked at, and they discovered basically that the engine needed to be replaced, and it would cost about 3 times more than the car is worth, if not more. So there went that. So ultimately, long story short, we did a bit of a car shuffle, and Stacy needed another car. So
there she is. There's Cersei Lannister, Ray.
So we've been test driving cars. She couldn't make up her mind. She wanted a big car, a little car, a car that gets good gas mileage, doesn't care about gas mileage, what kind of build. Oh, it's been quite the ordeal. And one of the things,
it would be a mercy if Ethan's car didn't make it.
I did see her banging around on Molly's car just before I took it to the shop. What could that have been?
Why does that sugar need to go in the engine, dear?
Well, one of the cars we were considering was an EV, and talk about good gas mileage. That's one way to go. So neither of us have ever really driven an EV before. So we thought, well, let's go check those out. So we're in the car test driving an EV, and I'm in the back seat. Stacy's in the driver's seat, and the salesperson is in the passenger seat. And he's showing her all the bells and whistles that the thing can do, and like you can do goofy things, like you can make the horn be a fart sound, and
oh, cool,
goofy stuff. And Stacy, there was a salesperson with a customer about 10 feet away, about 2 parking spots away. And Stacy kept making our salesperson do the fart sound as the horn. and she's like, do the fart sound again, do the fart sound again. And I said, it's weird. I hear you two talking, but then I hear an echo of you two talking just after you talk. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, you two talk. And then I hear an echo of you two talking. And the salesperson goes,
You're having an aneurysm back there?
That's because I have the megaphone button turned on. So every bit of our conversation where Stacy's telling him to make the car make a fart sound is being broadcast to the whole car dealership. So
was she embarrassed or was she thrilled that she was getting an audience?
She was pretty embarrassed. Yes.
Okay.
She's.
I mean, it wasn't her finest hour, right. And for it to be broadcast.
If she had been doing a TED Talk or something on, diabetes education or something like that.
But all she was saying was, make the fart sound again. That's fantastic.
So, yeah. We didn't end up buying that car, but it was fun.
That's
it was
a shame.
Fun test
it sounds like a winner.
I agree.
It's always weird when a new feature of a car becomes mandatory.
Right? Yeah.
There was a time when airbags didn't seem like a mandatory feature, but now you wouldn't dream of buying a car without airbags.
Right.
And now I've heard about the fart noise horn.
The fart horn, right?
Not sure about the accidental megaphone though. That one.
Yeah, there needs to be a big sign that shows up on the screen that says megaphone in use.
Yeah. Because I do say some scurrilous things about the near neighbors when I'm driving that they might overhear.
Not to mention the other drivers in the cars around you when you're on the road.
That's who I meant.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you meant your literal neighbors of your house.
No. That would be embarrassing too. At least the people driving near me, I might go my separate way from that.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so we did buy a car, but it wasn't that car.
Well, funny enough, we paid off a car. That's how I got poor.
Right.
Yeah. So
okay, there you go. Yeah. Excellent.
So,
how about you? What's going on with you?
Well, the big event of this week is my friends and neighbours, Alex and Natalie, who are occasional listeners, and I've learned to be nicer about them on the podcast.
Right. Yes.
Having discovered that they're occasional listeners. Alex is essentially my age, but technically he's a bit older. Okay. But
right, yeah. We'll keep that between us.
Yeah. He retired this week.
What?
He retired.
Fantastic.
I know. And it's got me thinking. Mackelly.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that guy does not have to get up in the morning and drive to his work ever again.
That's quite the
do whatever he wants.
Feeling. Yeah.
Every day he just get up and do whatever he wants.
If I could get both the kids off the payroll, that would be one more year for Ethan. Anyway,
it's not so much them being on the payroll; it's what you get for that money. Really, if they were pulling their weight, if they were earning that money.
Yeah. Well, the dog is now chipping in as well. The cost of the vet bill yesterday, and then the cost more tests are required tomorrow, which may lead to possible double daily doses of pills of medication and such. And so, yeah.
Remember when my cat got hurt just when I was on the cusp of buying my telescope, which was like the biggest thing I ever bought in my life for myself was my telescope.
Yeah.
And I was right on the cusp of buying it, and our cat got hurt and
lost a leg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And pretty much ate up the entire telescope. I was like, I think I was 2 years before I bought the telescope because of that.
Yeah, that happened. It always seems to happen that way.
Yeah.
Not just after, where you could have been like, oh, shoot. If only I hadn't bought this telescope
before,
that I love.
So you know you just got to not do the thing you wanted to do now.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's get down to business. How do we leave Tyrion Lannister? The last we saw of Tyrion, he was leading an unwitting Penny and a disinterested Jorah into the camp of the Second Sons to escape their bondage that was temporarily loosened by the imminent death from dysentery of their owner, Yezzan Zo Kagas. Ben Plum recognised Tyrion, who in turn recognised Brown Ben Plum, and boasted that he knew the captain's lineage, and that was why the dragons were fond of him. Brown Ben Plum in turn recognised Jorah Mormont. Tyrion dangled a lordship before Brown Ben Plum, and he and Jorah had their foot in the door. Mackelly, why don't we give a summary of this one?
I can see no reason not to. Tyrion is signing paperwork, a pile of parchments by his elbow. Each promises gold to the members of the Second Sons. Not all the Second Sons get a note, just the sergeants and upward. In rapid increasing amounts at that, Tyrion can't hope to pay these notes off unless he comes into his inheritance, in which case he'll have plenty of gold. And if not, he'll be dead, so he won't care anyway.
At the top of the food chain, Casporio the Cunning gets 10,000 golden dragons, as does Inkpots, whose real name turns out to be Tybero Istarion. But, and Tyrion wonders if he might have some Lannister blood in him with a name like Tybero.
Right. Exactly.
Brown Ben Plum gets 100,000 golden dragons, 50 hides of lands, a castle, and a lordship. Tyrion makes a show of feeling the pain of these fictive losses. All of this paperwork is a preamble to Tyrion's admission into the Second Sons, for which there is yet more paperwork. Inkpots is a conscientious paymaster of the troop. A venerable leather-bound book is brought out. Every Second Son is recorded within this or its previous volumes.
Inkpots celebrates some of the famous names within. Aegor Bittersteel Rivers, before he founded the Golden Company. Aerion Bright Prince Targaryen, who... those of you who watched this season's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will be familiar with Aerion Targaryen.
Which one was he?
He was the bad guy in the...
Oh, yeah, the bad guy. Oh, yeah.
The older brother, yes.
So wait, was he... Was Knight of the Seven Kingdoms before he was a Second Son?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Part of why he was a Second Son.
Right, because of his behaviour.
Exactly.
He was sent to the naughty corner.
Right, which is apparently Western Essos is the naughty corner.
Exactly. It's a big corner.
Yeah. And Roderick, the wandering wolf Stark. For this, red ink is required to represent blood, but not to be so prone as to fading as the real stuff. Tyrion claims to be a sucker for tradition and pricks his finger, still feeling the pain to his relief. He signs with a flourish below Ser Jorah's more modest mark.
Lord Tyrion is welcome to the Second Sons. Tyrion likes the sound of that. Second Sons may not be as shiny as the Golden Company, but they have plenty of famous victories. He remarks that his previous brother was unsatisfactory. He's glad of some new ones. He asks about armour and is directed to the wagons with company steel. The chiefs of staff tell Tyrion to armour his woman too. They're concerned that Tyrion and Penny are a bit conspicuous. They've adopted escaped slaves before, but Yezzan's men are looking for two dwarves.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes. He says his brother was unsatisfactory, but when Kem asks him what he misses about King's Landing, his very first thought was Jaime.
There you go.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Tyrion's role won't involve too much armor. He's to work with inkpots on ledgers and books. He's not too unhappy about that. He finds Penny, she's asleep, and he wakes her. She complains that she is sad and tired. And Tyrion worries that tiredness might be a harbinger of the pale mare. He feels her brow. It's warm, But is it just because it's warm in the tent? He can't consider saying that out loud because he knows they'd drive her away if they even suspected that she was ill. He tells her that he's signed up, and she asks if she can too, but he explains that that's not how it works.
She asks after Crunch and Pretty Pig. He pretends that he has had no word, but that second sons are out looking for them. In reality, Yezan's slave catchers were seen with a dog head on a pole. Tyrion drags her from her bed and forces her to dress in order to conceal her identity. They head to the armory. They meet Snatch, an unpleasant sergeant who enjoins Tyrion in some boasting and then spits sour leaf onto Tyrion in a sign that he doesn't believe the smaller man. Snatch tells them there is plenty of steel available, but all of it is stuff that young boys died in. But then again, fierce fighters like Tyrion wouldn't be bothered by that, now would they?
No, of course not. Kem takes them to Hammer. The lad has a Kingslander accent, so Tyrion chats with him. Turns out he's a refugee of the Battle of the Blackwater. He misses the bowls of brown in King's Landing, and Tyrion misses his wealth. They find Hammer, who is usually hammered. His apprentice is Nail. The youth directs them to the carts of armor. Ser Jorah joins them, fully armored once more. He assures them that there is decent steel to be found. Tyrion encourages Penny to choose a great helm to protect her face. She's coquettishly happy that Tyrion likes her face.
She suggests some other facets that Tyrion might like. He despairs. She's not sure why they need real armour. Again, he wants her to survive. She finds him a crossbow, a weapon he's talked about before. But unless all his enemies would sit on the latrine, he'll need something that doesn't have a long reload time. He finds a dirk, which works as a short sword for a man of his stature. Penny says she dreamed of her brother last night, and lords throwing roses to them for their show. Tyrion slaps her, not hard, but her eyes fill with tears. He roughly explains that Crunch and Pretty Pig are likely dead, and that the Mummer show is over, and she needs armour.
She questions why they ran. She has a point. Their bondage was a lot better than most peasants' freedom. But he points out that the special slave's lofty status won't have protected them from the Pale Mare. He promises to sell her to a kind Yunkish lord when the war is over, if that's what she wants. But first she has to stay alive. Jorah reckons there is real danger. The combined effects of the Pale Mare and interscene squabbling means that the calculus is changed, and the Unsullied, +3 dragons, will give victory to the Myronese. Tyrion agrees and plans to get Brown Ben to turn his cloak one more time.
Yeah. So this one, it's strange to me that this one is so late in this book, because it's a real... I know that as we were writing the notes for this one, we were like, what happens in this chapter? I mean, right. It's the biggest thing that happens in this chapter is they get passed from man to man to man. It's like all 500 of the Second Sons interacted with them at some point in this chapter. But nothing really happens. They sign. I mean, Tyrion signs this paperwork, which maybe that's important. Maybe this will come back to haunt him, or it'll become an important thing. But it seems to me like it's not even a gamble, because like he says, if he comes into his inheritance, he can pay all this, and actually it won't be too difficult. But if he doesn't come into his inheritance, there's no way he can pay any of this. So who cares,
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting choice for the last Tyrion chapter in A Dance with Dragons. Basically, The last real Tyrion chapter we have.
Right, and if his plan is to try and convince Brown Ben to switch sides one more time, which we'll discuss that a lot more, but it feels like that's the next chapter. That should have been the next chapter.
Yeah, I feel like this chapter could have been added on to either the previous chapter or a next chapter in like a page or so, with just cutting out some of the discussions and details.
Yeah. And I mean, some of it, I guess, is they're trying to establish Penny's state of mind. She's obviously, deeply depressed about what's happened to them. And
yes.
With some reason, her status as one of the special slaves of Yezan was better than almost any other point in her life. She was being fed and looked after. Yeah. She was getting to do her show as she enjoyed. She was unaware of some of the things that had been almost happening to her, that Tyrion was aware of. And if you put aside the Pale Mare, she's run away from a better situation to a worse situation.
Right.
and lost Crunch and Pretty Pig in the meantime, which is heartbreaking. I mean, we're just talking about pets. I mean, we especially a pet who is also your livelihood. So,
yes.
Very difficult to not be depressed about that. But Tyrion's counter to all that is, it's the Pale Mare. You were going to die. It's not, I'm not taking you from the good situation just for the heck of it. We were all going to die if we stayed there.
Yeah, and also that Yezin died, and they don't know what situation they're going to find themselves in with their new master.
Even if they didn't
stayed.
die. Yeah. The new master might not need special slaves. They might just need very strong, hard-working slaves.
Right. And it's an unknown, and not one Tyrion was willing to take a chance on when they had an opportunity to escape. But he's signing away promises he'll likely never be in a position to keep. Even if he survives the war, he's signing this as Tyrion Lannister, Lord of Casterly Rock, which he is not. So there's currently actually no Lord of Casterly Rock. There's the Castellan of Casterly Rock is a cousin of his. If you remember, when Kevin refused to be Tommen's Hand of the King, Cersei passed him over as Castellan of Casterly Rock and instead chose Damian Lannister, who's a rather distant cousin on their mother's side. He is the son of Daemon, who was Joanna's father's son with his second wife, Joanna being Tyrion's mother.
Sibling.
So, yes, Joanna's half-sibling son, so a half-nephew.
Oh, wait. Joanna's half-sibling son
is the new the current Castellan. Yes.
Right. But I guess now with Kevin as regent, he could make himself Lord of Casterly Rock, presumably.
Yeah, I guess he could, or get Tommen to do it, I guess.
Well, yeah, either way, but I mean, in some ways, he's a natural choice for that because Cersei's children. Well, maybe you want to save Casterly Rock from Myrcella.
Yeah, true.
But
of course, she is supposed to marry a Prince of Dorne, but not the oldest son.
Prince.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So they could go to Casterly Rock and be Lord and Lady of Casterly Rock, I suppose. That could work.
That is true.
Does Kevin have other children than Lancel?
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes. Yes, one was killed by Rickard Karstark. And
he was one of the 2 boys.
Yes. But then he has a twin, I believe, who is still alive. Their names are escaping me at this moment.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, you should have seen the look on Mackelly's face, ladies and gentlemen. That was the look of why would he ask a question which we don't have the answer to in the notes, because that's just not fair. But yeah, because you could argue that the Tywin line is coming to an end. Tyrion is absent, presumed dead. Jaime has taken a vow of celibacy, and Cersei's children are the royal family. They, maybe aren't interested in Casterly Rock. So it wouldn't be completely outlandish to make it Kevin and then have Kevin's heirs inherit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Unless Cersei plans on Tommen or Myrcella's children to continue that line.
Yeah, I suppose.
Thomas.
And you mean Thomas, You mean those to have 2 different sets of children, right? Tommen's children and Myrcella's children. Just to be clear,
right? They're not Targaryens and they're not Jaime and Cersei, so they better. But ultimately, I guess it's kind of both good and bad for Tyrion's interest here that the Castellan is this random distant cousin Damian Lannister, because he's likely a fairly weak Castellan, and maybe if Tyrion does survive this, he could overrule Damian as Tywin's son.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine him marching back in there and saying, "Remember what I did with the drains," and everyone saying, "We want that guy." I mean, but yeah, I mean, he clearly has a stronger claim if it was supported by other people.
Yeah, and that's the other that's where the other shoe falls, because likely Damien is also very much a puppet of Cersei, or at the very least in no position to make good on promises if these second sons show up with their parchments. And he thinks, well, first of all, if they ever get to Casterly Rock to do that, and Tyrion thinks, oh boy, if they stop at King's Landing and request payment from Cersei, he'd love to be a roach in the rushes for that. But he thinks there's no harm from his standpoint. You know, he returns to claim his birthright. He's got all the gold in Casterly Rock. He could make this happen without too much trouble. If he dies here, what does he care what they do with these parchments? But I think the surviving part depends on how he returns to Casterly Rock. If he survives, he's not currently ensconced as Lord of Casterly Rock. So if he survives and they're like, okay, let's head back to Westeros and cash in these papers, and he's like, well, you see, the thing is this.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if I were him, I would take them and try to use them to help him gain it, which he has a legitimate claim.
He does.
Not the only claim, but a claim. And the tides will change in Westeros between now and then. And so his enemies might not be in a position to stop him, you know. And I could even, if he came back and maybe talked to Kevin and said to Kevin, hey, I didn't kill any of these people. Well, I did kill your brother, but he was really asking for it.
Yeah, that's going to be the hard one. Joffrey, you know, he could explain away maybe.
That's true. Yeah, Tywin's a bit more tricky.
Tywin. Yeah.
So, so let's get rid of Kevin and Cersei, and then he comes back.
Right,
and says,
there you go.
Hey, you may not like what I did, but it's mine.
And that's not out of the realm of possibility.
True.
They might end up offing each other.
Very true, yes.
But if I were Brown Ben, I would treat Tyrion like precious cargo.
Well, exactly, because, well, yes and no. Because on the one hand, he probably is thinking, this is such a long shot. I am not investing too much of my time and effort into protecting this guy. Some, because he's potentially a lot of money. But I'm not risking my life to keep him alive, because I'm almost certainly not going to see that money. Right.
But there's no real loss if he's kept from the battlefield.
Right, from the battlefield, from the Pale Mare, from Yezzan, you know.
Yeah. Aside from Super Tyrion in the Battle of the Blackwater,
True.
You know, he's not...
Who knew he was going to be that?
Right. He's much more valuable alive and safe, I guess is what I'm saying.
Is he the same without Pod, though? I mean,
well, that's true. Maybe Pod is what gave him his special powers.
And actually, we never got Pod's POV. Maybe Pod was doing all the killing. You know?
Right, Tyrion was thinking he was. Pod was riding along behind him and cleaning up the damage there. But Ben does seem to know that Tyrion is not currently the Lord of Casterly Rock. He makes a reference to, Tyrion says, have other lords ever served as second sons? And he said, Ben says, yeah, landless lords like you.
Right.
So, and he also knows, he considered whether he wanted to take Tyrion's head back to Cersei and claim the ransom that Cersei is offering. So,
well, actually thinking about it, that is a lot easier.
Yes.
Than what Tyrion's, because I think you're right. I think Brown Ben, I mean, if he's saying, I'm going to take 100,000 gold dragons from this landless lord, then he knows that... Because one thing that's weird in this chapter is, it's never explained what Tyrion is asking for.
Yeah.
It's sort of implied, but it really isn't. I mean, it's like, is that the price for shielding him from the slavers? That's an enormous price.
I think part of that is, yes, I think that is a big chunk of it is, we won't take you back into slavery. We won't turn you back over. You can become a second son, but you're going to pay through the nose to do it.
Yeah, but you see, it's still too much, because the thing is, they know he's landless, and therefore he can't make good on this. The only way he makes good on this is to become Lord of Casterly Rock, and the only way he does that is if the second sons come to Westeros with him.
And what's to stop him?
Fight for him, basically.
What's to stop Ben from being like, yeah, that's what we're going to go do, and then get to Westeros and turn around and sell him to Cersei?
Well, if I knowing Brown Ben as I do, that's in his mind.
Yeah.
When they land on the shores of Westeros, he's going to lick his finger and hold it to the wind and then decide
right.
which of those two paths to take.
And there's no reason not to get this other option here, these parchments,
Right.
So, yeah, but he does seem to agree with us about keeping Tyrion safe because, first of all, he insists that Tyrion and Penny stay hidden and incognito as much as possible, and he assigns Tyrion to work with ink pots. It doesn't seem like he'll be doing battlefield duty here.
So actually, I do wonder. That's interesting though. Just thinking that thought experiment through. They land on the shores of Westeros, and he sort of like bumps into Kevin in the street, and he says, "Oh, Kevin, hi, I'm Brown Ben Plum. I'm here with your nephew Tyrion." And Kevin says, "Well, I'm still the King Regent over here, and that guy is going to get executed the minute I get my hands on him. But if you want, there's still a lordship going for his head. You could bring that to Cersei." So that way Brown Ben gets his lordship. But the thing is, does Brown Ben then present Cersei with the papers that Tyrion signed and say, these guys all need something as well?
Yeah, she might. To have Tyrion brought back alive to her, where she can have him tortured by Qyburn, she might be willing to honor those requests.
Yeah, because the thing is, if I was Inkpots or Casporio, I would be like, wait, you can't hand him over. You get what you signed up for, but we miss out on what we signed up for.
We get nothing.
So Ben says that a sellsword's word is worthless, and certainly that's proven to be true quite often during this story. Yep. Tyrion thinks, thank gods that yours is. So what did he mean by this? I mean, I assumed that he was thinking down the same path that he ended up at the end of the chapter when he was talking to Jorah.
Yeah, I think that's... I think either he was thinking this on multiple levels, or he was thinking what you're suggesting there. Right. But there are other options, like, thankfully you broke from Dany so that you're here with the Yunkai
to protect me,
to accept me, and keep me safe. Also, thankfully you're not too committed to the Yunkish cause, and you won't turn me in. And then thirdly, like you mentioned, a reference to the end of the chapter, I plan to turn you back onto Daenerys' side.
Yeah.
I think all three of those can be true at the same time that he's thinking.
For sure. So Tyrion actually signs in blood after Inkpots tells him it was tradition that we signed in blood, but we found over the years that faded, so we started using red ink, Yeah. But Tyrion insists on signing in blood, which has multiple reasons for it. One is he pricks his finger, which he has to do on a regular basis to make sure he doesn't have grayscale.
Yep.
Good news there. Passes the medical test. He's got to hope he doesn't prick his finger with a grayscale infected knife one day. That would be unfortunate.
That would be unfortunate. You know what else is unfortunate that I thought about when he said that? Or he didn't say it, but he thought it. Just the irony that Tyrion appears to be grayscale free, even though he was the one being bear hugged and dragged into the depths of the river by the man suffering from grayscale. Yeah. And John Connington, who all he did was reach in and drag Tyrion out, has contracted grayscale.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
But Tyrion insists on using blood, and like I said, well, part of it was to go through his daily ritual of testing his fingers. But part of it, I wondered if he was intentionally signing in something that he'd just been told a few minutes ago would fade.
Yeah. Knowing Tyrion, is very possible he was thinking that quickly. When Inkpots mentions it, he's thinking, oh, well, I can make myself just disappearing ink right out of here.
Right. And actually, there's sort of several levels to that. One is kind of like, is he hoping that this might just be a temporary sojourn with the Second Sons and could get forgotten about in the long run, and that there would be no record of it because his signature would fade, or is he also thinking about sneaking away without paying his debts in a typical Lannister fashion?
Well, unfortunately, those papers were signed with Maester's ink.
That's true, and they were signed, yes.
If there weren't so many, he could have agreed to sign all of those in blood as well, and that might have...
The other thing that's a little bit strange to me is, and this sort of like goes to the Quentyn part of the story. So Quentyn was part of the Windblown. What is the commitment when you sign up to these things? Because is it infinite? Are you indentured servant forevermore, or
no?
Is there
I think you signed for a duration.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it's debatable. It's not like a fixed term. You could say, "I'll sign up for a year, please," or "I'll sign
think
up
so.
For...
Yeah, right. It probably depends on the sellsword company, but I think it is negotiable how long you agree to sign up for.
Yeah. So 7th in the chain of people that Tyrion talked to was Kem. If you didn't follow our summary, I don't blame you. We weren't following it as we read it. We're like, who's right. This now? This is the guy between Snatch and Hammer. Hammer, who basically never shows up because he's drunk.
Right. Hammer, who gets replaced by Nail.
Yes. Those are good names. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So speaking of Quentyn, there is a little tie in here because Quentyn's uncle, Oberyn, I believe, served as a second son for a bit.
I would have mentioned him if I was Inkpots. That's a good one.
Yeah. I will verify that before that might get a cutting room floor, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
Listeners, please tell us if Mackelly was right or wrong on that one.
I believe that's true, but if you all never hear this, that's because I was wrong.
If you hear this and he was wrong, that's because I edited it and left it in on purpose.
Right. Anyway, let's talk about Kem.
Kem is from King's Landing, and he fought for Stannis in the Battle of Blackwater. Which... Well, go on. What do you have to say about this? You're itching to interject.
Well, yeah, it's just he's a fascinating character. One, because he mentions Tywin sacking King's Landing, and he must have meant the sack of King's Landing, which happened at the end of Robert's Rebellion.
Right.
So he doesn't seem very old. So he must have been very young if he was alive during the sack of King's Landing, because that was 17 years ago. So
yeah.
And then I find it curious how it happened that he ended up fighting for Stannis, that he went up in arms against his own city's defenders for Stannis. I
thought that might be why you were raising it, because I too wondered about that. It's not... Yeah. He's not a Stormlander, he's a Crownlander. And
did he flee to the Stormlands when King's Landing became overcrowded with the Riverlands refugees, and he... fell in with Stannis there, he and his brother and his friend.
But that does seem strange because, it sounds like he was a bit of a homebody. His favourite thing was a bowl of brown. It's like,
right.
If you missed that.
I wonder if he enjoyed some Simon Silvertongue. But then he made his way to Essos rather than take the Black, which, first of all, also would have been difficult because most of the ships and the port itself were destroyed. So he must have sailed to Essos from another port aside from King's Landing. Yeah. And he mentions his brother Kennet, who was one of the things that Kem misses about King's Landing was his brother who died on the Bridge of Ships. And just a reminder about that, during the Battle of Blackwater, a whole bunch of ships smashed into each other and got tangled to the point where they created a bridge of ships across the river from one side to the other. And
was that caused by the chain, out of curiosity?
It was caused by... everything was backed up because of the chain, so ultimately it was caused by the chain. Yeah. But that bridge of ships was used by Stannis' men to get across the river to King's Landing.
So his brother fought for Stannis too, then?
Yeah. Tyrion almost died on that bridge, if you remember. Mandon Moore tried to kill him, and then Podrick killed Mandon. But then he flees, and he gets to the ships, Stannis' ships, and a knight rejects Kem and said, "We don't have any room for cravens," and sailed away, leaving thousands behind, which in hindsight wasn't good for Stannis because he's been in desperate need of men.
Right, true
and
enough.
Has tapped the Free Folk and the Northern Mountain clans to try and fill out his army, where he could have had thousands
at least thousands of people who possibly would fight for you again if you rescued them at this moment, even if they didn't fight that bravely for you the first time.
Yes. Although, in hindsight again, maybe Kem was better off because he's not freezing to death outside of Winterfell. So
true.
There's that as well.
So Tyrion puts some tough love on Penny. She tries to retell him about a sweet dream of performing with her brother, and he slaps her face. He says not hard, but Tyrion is not always the nicest person, so we don't necessarily take his word on that.
Yeah.
She does need to snap out of it. Well, I don't know if she does. I mean, maybe given where they are now. I mean, what is their current situation? They're within the camp of the Second Sons. They're being sought by Yezzan slave catchers. They need to keep a low profile. Maybe just let her wallow in her misery.
Yeah.
Just for a little while. Just leave her be.
She's in her tent. She's safe in her tent. She's such an endearing, but yet pity-inducing character.
Yeah.
You just feel for her. She's lost everything. All from a misunderstanding that the people thought that her brother Groat was Tyrion and killed her brother.
What do you think her feelings are towards Tyrion? I mean, obviously she sort of like flirts with him whenever she can. Is it does she like him, or is it any port in a storm kind of thing?
That is a great question. It's really unclear, and Tyrion is unclear whether her flattery over him saying, "I'm fond of your nose." And
right.
She's very touched by that and said, "Is there any other parts of me that you're fond of?" And it's unclear whether she just meant that as being like silly, playful banter, or if like legitimate, what else do you like about me? I need to know these things.
Yeah.
Which, has a bit of in Tyrion's ears, a bit of a bit of desperation to it, which irks him.
Yeah, but I mean, her life is getting more and more desperate. She's lost so much now. I mean, like, obviously, her brother was more than the animals, but the animals are the latest loss, and the one sort of constant she's had for a little while has been Tyrion.
Yeah,
and he gives her mixed signals. He does. He may not intend to, but he does give her mixed signals.
Yeah, sure. I agree with that. He does.
I don't think he likes. I don't think he finds her attractive. I don't think he wants her physically.
Right.
But I think he is fond of her, and so I can understand why sometimes she sees that as the former.
Yes, and I think he probably feels some level of guilt in the fact that much of what's happened to her is because of him, even if it wasn't directly because of him.
But the counter to that is there must be so many things in his life where he's seen people hurt by Cersei and felt bad for them that he must be somewhat inured to it by now. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true.
Penny's a tough case because he has things in common with her and she's right there, and she is pitiful, like you said. But if you spent your whole life feeling sorry for the people that Cersei had hurt, you'd have no room for anything else.
Yeah, that's true. He does pick and choose what truths and lies he tells her here, because Casporio mentions to Tyrion that there are slave hunters looking for the dwarves, and that one of them had a dog's head on a spike. Now, that could just be Casporio making that up just to be cruel.
Yeah.
But he doesn't tell her about that rumor.
No.
He does tell her of Yezzan dying the day they left, but then he lies and says that Sweets also died, but he doesn't know that.
Right.
He probably. The assumption is he doesn't want her longingly wishing to go back to her old life.
Yeah.
But now, in a world of ice and fire, it does say that Sweets died of the Pale Mare, but Tyrion doesn't know that unless Tyrion read A World of Ice and Fire. But he's trying his best to bring her out of her funk without doing too much damage. But he ultimately does, in an attempt to snap her out of things, does say Crunch and Pretty Pig are likely dead, and you have to forget about your past life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some tough love, but
Yeah.
in some ways it's needed because most of this is reality that she has to accept and try and move on from.
But on the other side of the sine wave of people's emotions, Jorah Mormont is rejoining us in the land of the living, it seems. I mean, he's found himself some armor, which I'm amazed to find was lying around, because it sounds like the kind of thing that any would-be second son would have snapped up. Thing had like nipples on the breastplate. Come on, that'd be your first order of business.
Yeah, he's recovering, but he believes that the war is already lost, that the Yunkai have lost, they just don't know it yet.
And just that, before we go any further, just the fact that he's taken an interest in the situation is a sea change from where he's been the last few chapters, where he was entirely disinterested in all of life.
Yes.
And now he's like you said, he's volunteering information about which way he thinks this war is going. And I have a lot of martial respect for Jorah Mormont, but his take is hot. Because not many people are looking at this scenario and saying to themselves, "Oh, I pity those Yunkai-ish."
Yeah. His thought is that it basically boils down to the Myronese have the best trained fighters in the world, the Unsullied, and 3 dragons, and the Yunkai have gimmicky slave soldiers like on stilts and chained together and things like that, and it's a no contest, and Yunkai has already lost. And that makes we know that Brown Ben Plum left Dany's side when he learned the dragons were not on the table. So did Drogon's sighting and Dany flying off with Drogon make Jorah and maybe others think, oh wait, the dragons are back in play here?
Yeah. I mean, Brown Ben walked away because she wouldn't ride the dragon. She rode the dragon, and everybody saw it. But yes, I mean, clearly that is the kind of change that could make Brown Ben Plum change sides once more.
Oh, yeah.
But if I was Brown Ben Plum, my only thoughts now would be about getting Tyrion back to Westeros. I'd be quitting this popsicle stand in a hurry. Like, what's in it for me here? All these dying people are going to pay up for my work here? No, they're not. They're all dead.
That's a good point.
I could switch sides, and the person I betrayed horribly is going to pay me, who might also be dead because she flew off on a dragon seemingly unwillingly.
Right, burned, or at least had her hair and clothes burned off.
Right. So, but here I am with a ticket for 100,000 golden dragons.
Right.
Why am I risking my life here?
What they need is to get into some ships. All face one way and sail the other direction. All face east and sail west.
Still a great image.
Like moonwalk their way out of here.
But it is a hot take by Tyrion, by Jorah, I should say, because the numbers favor the Yunkai-ish still. Now, they are being decimated by the Pale Mare, but he doesn't know what's going on inside the city. They could also be being decimated by the Pale Mare.
Yeah.
And the Unsullied are not 100% the best fighters. They are the best fighters, but they are known to run to fat if left in one place for a while.
That is true.
And they have been tied up now. They won't have gotten too fat because I think food is pretty scarce. But at the same time, they haven't been doing their fighting training.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, I'm sure Grey Worm has them staying active at some level, but there's a difference.
But a lot of it is police work, and that's not the same as fighting a war.
And it's also, we've not really seen them in action since they become truly accustomed to being freedmen.
Right.
Do they have the same level of disregard for their own well-being now that they're freedmen versus entirely just unsullied slaves?
And without their Misa, do they have something to fight for as well if she doesn't come back in the near future?
And now, well, that's one thing Jorah doesn't know, is that Hisdar has tried to talk to Grey Worm, and Grey Worm is refusing any interaction with Hisdar while Daenerys is gone. So the Myronese may actually not have the Unsullied like he thinks they do.
If Jorah's right, then I think I'm right in saying that Sir Barristan has been hinting at an idea of riding out of Meereen rather than sitting there being besieged. Ride out and take the fight to them. Might be the right tack here, because you're right. I mean, things are disjointed. Drogon did them a favor by killing. Don't expect me to remember the name of the one guy who got killed.
The Supreme Commander. The
Supreme Commander of the Yunkai forces got killed, and now they don't have a Supreme Commander. They're taking They're very good. Well done. Yeah. They're taking daily turns to be the commander, so it's kind of like there's zero forward momentum if you keep changing who's in charge.
Yeah, that's a terrible idea.
Right, you'd just be cycling through. I'm going to undo what you did. I'm going to undo what you did.
Yeah, but then the chapter ends with Tyrion saying he agrees. The second sons are on the losing side. They need to turn their cloak. Leave it to me.
And I wonder. Sorry if you had a point there, but I was going to speculate on something. I wonder if Tyrion might be going to Ben to say, Ben, send me into the city as your emissary, and I will tell them, ride out and fight, and the second sons will change sides in the field.
Sure.
And you will win the day, because that would be a big difference maker. You know, they start to ride out, and suddenly the Yunkai get in formation and start to fight. It could go very badly for Barristan and co. But if they ride out and then a big party turns on the Yunkai from within, that's going to take the day for the Meereenese.
The biggest hang up there is the fact that Brown Ben was so trusted by Daenerys and then turned his cloak on her already. But
only she feels that as strongly as she does. And if she's not there to make the decisions...
Yeah. Well,
Barristan might be able to make a colder decision there.
Daario does as well, but he again is a captive, a hostage. So
But
what is
actually that there might be a détente between the two of them. Part of what Brown Ben does is free Daario in this.
Oh, there you go. That would
and now they're on the same side again, possibly.
Yeah.
That would also build a bridge to Daenerys if she was back in the picture.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, it's not obvious what he's considering as far as leave it to me. Maybe Tyrion is thinking that Brown Ben is reconsidering Dany's cause now that Drogon has been seen, just like Jorah mentioned, they've got Unsullied and 3 dragons.
Yeah, and we mentioned in the summary that Tyrion tells Brown Ben, I know who you are, I know who your family is, I know your family has Targaryen blood, and I know that will have meant that the dragons were fond of you. And Brown Ben was just a tiny bit impressed. He was like, he does know a few things.
Maybe Tyrion plans on using his newfound influence as the Bank of Tyrion to try and change Brown Ben's mind.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm currently reading the Baroque Cycle by Neil Stevenson, which is a sumptuous read, highly recommended. 7 gargantuan books. But one of the central threads through this book is the sort of like the formation of official money, how money went from being a gold coin was worth its weight in gold to being a representation of an amount that could be traded back and forth.
Yeah, sure.
And it's sort of like it's a historical fiction, but it's fascinating. And that idea of writing a promissory note that was written here and could be cashed here is a big part of the book. I'm making it sound terribly dry, but it's really quite it's a sumptuous read.
7 huge books, right? So it must be more to it than just that.
Yeah, there's pirates and sizzling gypsies. I'm making stuff up there. All right, I think we've had enough of that. Shall we move on to spoilers?
I think we shall.
Remember, you can join us at the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainers to get the spoiler episodes. You can try any of those levels for free for a week. All right, excellent. Good spoilers.
Thank you.
Thank goodness for the released wins.
Really.
Have you got some background for us?
I do have some. So Tyrion thinks of how the Second Sons might not have the prestige of the Golden Company, but they've been a successful and respectable sellsword company over the centuries. Well, as respectable as sellsword companies can go, anyway. I mean, we need to clarify that. And Dany might feel otherwise, of course. Regardless, let's look at some of the history of these second sons. As Inkpot tells Tyrion, they're one of the oldest sellsword companies. They were founded prior to the Century of Blood, which is the chaotic period after the doom of Valyria, when the whole of Essos was jockeying for position in the power vacuum left by the destruction of the Valyrian freehold, which began about 400 years ago. So they've been around for
about 400 years?
Yeah, at least 400 years. The company got its name because it was founded by about 40 nobles who were younger sons. And their banner is a broken sword on white.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder why that.
Yeah, it's a good question. Why a broken sword and not a functioning sword?
Yeah. Or like a pair of heels or something. a pair of heels and a bag of money with like notes flying out of it as they run from the field.
Yeah, you know, broken swords would make you think of losses or broken promises or something like that.
Right.
You know?
I mean, maybe they're admitting to things, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, comparison with the television show, there's really no equivalence in the show. In the show, when Tyrion arrived in Meereen, he was quickly co-opted into Dany's inner circle, even before the scene with Drogon.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So he doesn't go through all of this process. He's never enslaved, I don't think. I think Jorah is, but he isn't.
Okay.
Pedantry Corner, I have a question about the armor. So they have to, I mean, there's a mountain of armor for them to rifle through.
I think there's multiple wagons of armor.
4 or 6 wains?
I think so, yeah. I had 6 in mind. So
Yeah. So there's only 500 of them. And typically you'd imagine that as a soldier in a sellsword company, you would wear the armor you owned and you wouldn't really have a spare. If you killed someone with better armor than you pillaged their armor from them and upgrade your armor. But you'd leave your other armor behind. You wouldn't keep it for sort of like Sundays or when you're meeting your girlfriend's parents or anything like that.
Right. This is my Sunday armor.
Right. I could imagine one wagon with handful of stuff, but to have to lug around 6 wains seems very, very strange. Now, I thought about it a little bit more. I thought, well, maybe some of it is pillage from these fields. Like as people die of the pale mare, maybe they're stealing armor from them. But I mean, like, I'd be careful with that. If I were them.
For sure. It doesn't seem that's the deal.
No, it just seems like too much to lug around. It just seems like unnecessary. Like, how many armorless people are you planning to recruit? You want to recruit people who've got armor. They know what they're doing.
That's true. You do have people like Kem who came to them with probably nothing more than the shirt on his back and would need armor.
Right,
so you would need
but
some.
You've got to earn it. Earn it by killing someone with armor. That would what you tell them.
Of course, it helps them. It helps them kill someone with armor if they have at least a starter set of armor.
Right,
but,
which is why I understand having some. I do understand having some. Having company steel, as they call it.
6 wains is a lot.
6 wains, it's a lot. It's you're slowing this whole company down by carrying that stuff around. Oh, and then the other thing is, I mentioned this in discussion. What exactly is Tyrion promising? I just don't understand. What is he? I mean, I understand what he's promising, but what is he asking for? And if he's asking for, I want the second sons to carry me on their shoulders to Casterly Rock, where I will take up the lordship and I will reward you handsomely, then why are they still in this field? Why are they not jumping on ships to Westeros?
Well, yeah, that's true. If that's the case.
I just felt like it was a mistake to not explain what he was asking for, because if it's just to protection for runaway slaves, his promises are completely incommensurate with that. There's nowhere near.
Well, yeah, except for that he would be tortured and killed if they caught him and Penny as runaway slaves.
Well, true. I mean, yes, he might value his own life, but it just feels like
they're
it
very
feels like a
empty
lie.
promises,
It feels like a lie. You know, like, oh, I'll give you 100,000 golden dragons not to turn me in. Like, I'll bet you £1 million.
Yeah, that's the thing. Both sides have to think this is really just nothing but a show.
Yeah.
Tyrion feels like at one point he almost laughed while he was signing, but he was afraid of offending Brown Ben because he wants Brown Ben to feel like he's really pulling one over on Tyrion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he says he makes a mama's show of being in pain as he signs these things.
Right.
But
really, he
the
doesn't
whole thing
care.
is performative. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. He's using his new mummer skills. Although he says at one point, "I'm tired of the mummery."
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, that's it. That was my pedantry for this week.
Good stuff.
News and notes. Most exciting thing of all is we're going to have, presumably, but for the last time, we'll have a special guest presenter next week. Jenny is going to step in so that I can go on a little vacation.
That's
Jenny,
right.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's always good to have Jenny on the show. She adds a good flair to things.
For sure.
And really great insights. So she was excited to at least to me, she said she was excited to do it. So I have to believe that she is.
Take her at her word.
Yeah, exactly. So that'll be fun. And in honor of us nearing the end of the last existing A Song of Ice and Fire book here, we've opened our merchandise store. So go grab some Ghost of Harrenhal gear and help us roll through these last remaining chapters.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we have a new member of our Buy Me a Coffee Sustainers. Seth has joined us at the Knight of the Realm tier. Thank you so much, Seth. We're used to interacting with Seth. He's an active contributor on the text, and we're hoping to have even more interactions with him now that he's on board with the Sustainers. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Seth. And yeah, it will be good. We can't respond to text, so it's very much a one-sided conversation. He says things to us, and then we can't say back.
Usually we apologize for our mistakes on the show. Is what
right.
usually happens. All right, let's conclude this one. So Tyrion and Jorah are definitely on the up, but Henny's livelihood is gone, and it's hard to see a very happy future for her.
Yeah, she's one of the characters that your heart goes out to most in this story.
Sometimes I think about sort of how empathy works and how debilitating empathy can be, because if you spend any time thinking about the pennies of this book, you'd just be crippled by, oh God, it's so awful. And Penny's story is not the worst, not by a long chalk. She's had some real unhappy moments here for sure, but she's landed on her feet in many ways compared to a lot of people. And if you couldn't turn your empathy off, you'd be crippled. And I have a friend who just loves animals, and I often think that they suffer from this, that they can't. You've got to inure yourself at some point, otherwise you're just going to be unable to move forward in life.
That is true, especially if you're driving in a car. We were driving home from dinner a couple weeks ago, and there were 2 dead geese on the road. And I still keep thinking about those geese, and I just keep feeling bad for those geese. And, and we get deer in our yard, and I think, I hate that life is so dangerous for them.
Yeah, I'm the same. There was a deer in our yard the other day, and I was looking at it. Actually, he was a strange deer because he came right up to the fence and he looked across, and I was able to walk up to within about 5 feet of him. And he was just looking at me, and I was looking at him, and it was really strange. I was like, this guy's kind of tough. But I'm the same. I'm like, he's hemmed in by roads on 4 sides,
right?
But I mean, look at the size of him. He's managed to get that big. Luckily for Tyrion, he has it only in he has a thin slice of it. He has just enough.
Yeah. And as you pointed out, he's mortgaged Casterly Rock to save his hide, which will be fine if all were to go to plan. This is like we discussed in pedantry. Like, I don't know how this. There's just so many avenues where that doesn't work out for one way or another, and there's only one route where it does. And that's if somehow Tyrion manages to actually become Lord of Casterly Rock.
Right.
Which is like the chances of Oldham winning
now,
the
easy with
the
where
FA
you're going
Cup
with this.
was
Come on now, low blow. But actually,
I was trying to think of that one team that won the Premier League,
Leicester City.
Leicester.
Yes,
yeah, I couldn't think of it, so I had to default to what I did know.
10 years ago, Leicester City won the Premier League, and now they've just fallen into the third tier.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah,
they won the Premier League 10 years ago. Now they're in the third tier. Wow. Yeah. The next thing you know, they'll be signing up for the second Sons.
But Tyrion and Jorah both think that the tide of the siege is shifting. The infighting and the disease that runs right through the Yunkai mean that the Myronese, if they take their opportunity, will prevail, will break the siege, and the Yunkai will presumably flee home.
Yeah, there's a window there, right? Like before the Volantene fleet arrives. And before reinforcements can arrive, like fresh, healthy reinforcements from the Yunkai side can arrive, there's a window.
Yeah, and if somehow if a combination of things could happen, if the inside Marine, they gird their loins and plan a surprise attack on the besiegers, simultaneously the Second Sons turn back around to fight for Daenerys, and Victarion arrives with a fleet to decimate the fleet fighting for Daenerys as well. If all three of those things could happen at the same moment,
right,
then it definitely, the tables are turned. But how would you coordinate that? There's so many moving parts to that it just feels...
Yeah. There's also the Tattered Prince and the Wind Blown. That's a hopeful plan.
The one thing about the Wind Blown is they pay attention to which way the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
I do think that all of that, though, is predicated on Jorah and Tyrion perhaps misunderstanding how chaotic things are within Meereen. I mean, like, first of all, Daenerys is gone, and now there's sort of a power vacuum, and their own inner civil wars going on in there because Hisdar is suddenly jumped up king when he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And so and the Unsullied and Barristan Selmy are persona non grata with the new king. So if you knew all that, you might not be quite so confident of the success of the Myronese.
Yeah, and plus, like I just mentioned, it's no secret that the Volantene fleet is on the way. And that's going to be a large fleet with a lot of soldiers. Yeah. And that could swing the war.
Right.
There has been talk that the Yunkai might just be holding out for the Volantene fleet to arrive.
Right. But we think Victarion is ahead of the Volantenes, right?
They are. He definitely is ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a window of opportunity here if they could just somehow coordinate it. But it is so hard to coordinate because A, they don't know Victarion is coming, and B, when he does arrive, they won't know which side he's on, you know.
True.
Until he starts killing people, but he won't know who to kill.
Well, yeah, there's that. Kill everyone who's facing the walls of Meereen.
Yeah, that's right. More reason to sail backwards, my friends. All right. So next time, Jenny and Mackelly will discuss the Kingbreaker. Very exciting. Whenever there's a chapter like that, I'm forced to speculate there could be so many people that this might be.
Yeah. Could be.
It could just be about the snow in the north.
Oh.
That's breaking at least one king, for sure.
Yeah. Though there's getting to be less and less kings. But,
true.
Although we did get one here with Hisdar, he's kind of a new king, I guess.
That's true. It could be him, yeah. There's 3 ways that you can help us out. You could leave us a positive review and a 5-star rating. You could buy us a cup of Arbor Gold at buymeacoffee.com/ghostharrenhall. You can become a sustainer like Seth did at any of the various levels. There's a tier to match your budget and interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers. Or you can make a donation directly to our cause through our website, ghostsofharrenhall.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, you could always send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode show notes. Seth also very much familiar with that. Just please keep in mind that we have no means of responding, but we do enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, one thing you can do is you can check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghosts Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.